Anyways, hello guys, TP here. So today I'm gonna do the final video before I head out to Toronto again. Um, so so I'm going to, as you see, rank all the seasons, movies, and spin-offs of Thomas the Tank Engine. We're also including Tugs, because I don't care what you say, Tugs and Thomas are in the same universe, just in different countries. So let's get started right off the bat with Season 1. This season is just good in my opinion. Um, but before I get into my opinions on Season 1, I just want to say a couple quick things. Um, I've been trying like several other attempts, but it was just because, well, I tried the first time, and an advertisement popped up on me and spooked and gave me the creeps. Like, I didn't see it, but it literally just popped up, and it literally had the volume so loud that it scared me. I swear to God, I want to punch the Google bots in the face. I want to shut down their Google bots because as seen online, ads are made by Google. Oh my God, it's torturous. Anyways, let's get to season 1. Season 1 is, in my opinion, a good season. Nothing great, but just good. The only thing that lets it down is the lighting. The lighting is just bland, and the sets look pretty much nothing when it's at this lighting anyway. But I'll admit, the lighting for episodes like Flying Kipper are really beautiful. Then that's because they're at nighttime, and they always tend to stand out. And I'll admit the sunset shots don't look too bad either. And yeah, uh, there are lots of great episodes like Dirty Objects, Off the Rails. I think Off the Rails is pretty much the most nostalgic episode of the entire show. Changed my mind. But, this season, in my opinion, may not be the best, but it certainly is not the worst. I mean, that doesn't mean all the episodes are good. There are some pretty poor episodes, like Thomas and the Guard, Thomas's Train, and Thomas Goes Fishing. Wow, surprising they're literally all Thomas stories, and they pretty much let down the season, kind of. Anyways, season 2. This is a great season, in my opinion. Um, I like that I like that we get to see, I like the light, I'll admit, this is the first season where the lighting is actually good. Um, and I'll admit, there are lots of great episodes, like Birdie's Chase, Old Iron, Ghost Train, Edward's Exploit, Wrong Road, The Diseasel, um, Close Shave, uh, Deputation, etc. But there are also some weak episodes, like, Better Late Than Never, Thomas and Trevor, I think that's it. I don't know. And maybe Percy and the Signal as well. Uh, but but this season is still an improvement to season 1. Gotta give props to David and Britt for doing their best to adapt the Wilbur Audrey stories. Tugs. Now this is way better. This is like 10 times better than these two because of one thing, the lighting. Like, I mean, technically it's a different show, but it's also technically Thomas's sister series. And oh my God, I love it so much. Just because of how much they focus on a harbor. And boy, I love harbor sets. They just very much have that industrial feel. And it all looks so real. I love it to death. But there are lots of great episodes like Pirate, Ghosts, High Tide, Trapped, etc. But there are only a few weak episodes like Warrior, else? Regatta. And Upriver, I think. I don't know. But yeah, I think those 3 episodes are just fine, in my opinion. But yeah, the next season is even better. Season 3. Good God, I love this season. I'm not sure if this is probably this might probably be my new favorite season of the show. Mainly because of how many stories there are that are actually great. Like season 1 it has a couple season 1 is mostly good and great stories with a couple mid ones and a couple poor one with a couple like mid/poor ones. Season 2 has a lot of great episodes with a couple mid ones, but season 3 is also Tugs is basically mostly great, but but with only less mid episodes. It's mostly it's mostly great episodes, but that are just so charming, and there are only a couple of mid episodes. While season 3 is just has has almost every single story be the fantastic it could be. Like, I'm not joking. Like, the episodes that I find are really great are Buzz Buzz, Edward Trevor and the Really Useful Party, Toby's Tightrope, A Scar for Percy, Percy's Promise, Gordon and the Famous Visitor, Donald's Duck, Thomas Percy and the Post Train, No Joke for James, um, All at Sea, Escape, Tender Engines, as I said in my top ten classic series episodes video, um, Bulgy, Heroes, Thomas and Percy's Christmas Adventure, etc., etc. Lots of these episodes are fantastic. But there are also a couple of weak episodes, like One Good Turn, and The Trouble with Mud. But that doesn't mean this entire season is bad. Like, this season 3 is almost entirely fantastic episodes, while there are only a couple that are mid. Now, season 4, not as good as Tugs, but is still a really great season. Actually, I'll put it in the great tier, because it's mostly, the first half is just great. Mostly it's great, but the standard gauge stuff is just mid. So I think I'll just put it below season 2. I'm sorry. I mean, most of the standard gauge episodes are just mid. There are but don't get me wrong, there are lots of great episodes. Like almost all the narrow gauge episodes are great. There's Train Stops Play, Toad Stands By, Thomas and the Special Letter, Paint Pots and Queens, Fish. I think that's it. Out of all the 11 standard gauge episodes, there are only 5 good to great episodes. The rest are just mid. But yeah. The poor episodes, the very the weaker episodes I can find in this season are the other 6 standard gauge episodes, Rusty to the Rescue, what else? Hmm. Uh, A Bad Day for Sir Handel, uh, Home at Last, Rock and Roll. I think that's it. I think that's all the weaker episodes, but still, season 4 is a great season, just not as good as season 2, in my opinion. But season 5 is way better. Oh my goodness, isn't this season filled with action? I will say that this is... Actually, you know what, it's not as good as Tugs, because, well, it's not the most realistic season, but it is definitely better than season 2 in my opinion. Um, but I will admit, season 5 is really fantastic. It has mostly great episodes with only a batch of mid episodes and one terrible episode. But still, season 5 is really outstanding. Like, there are lots of great episodes, like Toby and the Flood, Haunted Henry, Busy Going Backwards, Rusty and the Boulder, James and the Trouble with Trees, Cranky Bugs, Horrid Laurie, uh, By George, etc. But there are also some weaker episodes too, like Toby's Discovery, Duncan Gets Spooked, Gordon and the Gremlin, A Better View for Gordon, Bah, uh, and the terrible one, Thomas and the Rumors. Oh my god, that one sucked. But still, lots of season. The rest is a lot of season. The rest of season 5, other than the mid and terrible, other than the mid episodes and one terrible one, is really fantastic. And well, yeah. Okay, let's just move on. Now we get to our first special of Thomas and Friends, Tatmer. Uh, I don't care what anyone says. This is a good movie. This is honestly a good movie. I mean, not great, because while it does have a convoluted plot and the magic elements are very unrealistic, and it overall just spoiled what Thomas was. It overall just fricked up Thomas, uh, uh hence post season 6. Um, but still, this movie does have a lot of good things that save the movie. Like, I like the standard gauge parts. Um, I like I like that Diesel 10 is just sometimes so funny in this. I even like his little I even liked his little tune when he passed through Nafford Station. And uh I really like Mike I really like the two conductor cousins, Mr. Conductor and C Jr. They those two are both the funniest characters in the movie. Sometimes they're just downright funny, while sometimes they're just kind of boring. But this movie isn't without problems, like the other two I just stated earlier. Um, the stupidity of of some of the characters, like Lily, and I think Lily is the only character that's the dumb one. I'm not blaming the actor Mara Wilson, as she's performed well in other movies, like Matilda. In fact, Mara Wilson is definitely the child star of Matilda. Oh man, Matilda is a really great movie. Anyways, Tatmer. We're back to back to Tatmer. Uh, yeah. Other than Burnett Stone is like Peter Fonda is a bit too sad in my opinion. He does mostly an okay performance. Uh, what else? Uh, Splatter and Dodge don't add anything to the plot, really. Um, and there are lots of times where the discussions are flat out repeated. But still, the standard gauge moments, the chase sequence at the end I forgot to mention, and lots of the cuts really save the movie. And I'll admit, this is really good. But it does ruin what Thomas was. Season 6. If I put this at best, I would consider it better than season 4. Hold on. Alright. I didn't want to place it in best. I guess I'll place it... I don't care what anyone says this is better than season 4. I do not care what anyone says. This is better than season 4. Actually, you know what? I'll put it below season 2. Because, well, season 6 has mostly great episodes, a couple mid ones, and a couple bad ones. So I think I'll put it below season 4. Because season 4 is mostly great, and other half is mid, I'd say. So it would be a bit unfair to put season 6 above season 4. Season 7. Whoa, wait a minute. I forgot to state something. The good and bad episode, the good, mid, and bad episodes of season 6. So the good episodes of season 6 are pretty much a couple of obvious ones. Gordon takes a tumble, Duncan, the and pretty much the standout one for what I know is the world's strongest engine, mainly because of just how comedic it is. And I like that this is just like the world's strongest engine is basically Pop Goes the Diesel, but with more comedy. All right. So yeah. There are lots of other good episodes, but the other ones I just stated are a couple of examples, just to name a few. But that doesn't mean season 6 is all good, because, well, I mean the visuals are honestly really good. Honestly really good. The visuals are honestly really good. Better than season 1, but not as good as season 4. Um but there are a couple of bad episodes. Examples include, I can probably say all of them: Edward the Really Useful Engine, Rusty Saves the Day, Middle Engine, and trying to think at the top of my head now. No, definitely not Percy the Haunted Mine. I think that's it. Oh wait, no, Buffer Bother. Um, Even though Buffer Bother's not bad, it's pretty poor. I'm not saying Buffer Bother is bad. It's just eh. It's just below average. Anyways, now on to season 7. I don't care what anyone says, this is better than season 6. Oh, but it's not as good as season 4. Season 7 does have mostly good episodes. It does have a couple greats, mostly good, and a couple mid. Um, but that's not bad. Well, okay, basically, season 7 is mostly good, a couple mid, and a couple bad. So I'd say it's probably slightly better than season 6. I used to think this was my least favorite classic season, but that honor goes to season 1. I mean, I don't mean any offense. I'm not saying season 1 is bad. It's still a good season, I will admit, and it is definitely better than Magic Railroad. But still, the lighting is just what lets it down. But season 7 is just flat out great. I mean, I mean, the lighting is way better than the lighting is a little better than season 6. The stories are a little better as I thought about it. And I'll just point out a lot of great episodes this season, like James and the Queen of Sodor, Gordon and Spencer, 3 Cheers to Thomas. Uh, those are pretty much obvious ones. Snow Engine, Something Fishy, The Runaway Elephant, Bulgy Rides Again, Best Dressed Engine, and of course, one that has been that has been a bad episode, but all good at the same time, and has been a meme in my friend group. And that is Rusty, aha! Oh my god, I swear to God, I love that meme so much. It's what kickstarts the Trusty Rusty haha meme. Remember that, kid. Remember, kids. Remember, kids. Trusty Rusty haha is what kickstarts the meme. Season 7, Episode 25. The final classic narrow gauge episode. Before the narrow gauge engines were completely absent in Season 8 and returned in Season 9, all fricked up. Anyways, there are, yeah, but there are also other good ones too, like, trying to think of some now, like Edward's Brass Band, The Old Bridge, There are lots of others too, but I don't think I can point them all out. But there are there are only a couple of bad episodes, like Reneus and the roller coaster. But I'll admit the runway sequence is fun, but it doesn't save the episode, sadly. Fergus breaks the rules. Um, Spotless record. And oh boy, this season holds the worst episode of the classic series. And that episode is, I think anyone can possibly say it, Not So Hasty Puddings. Oh my god, that episode is so boring. I don't want to watch it. I don't care about Elizabeth. I do not care about the rivalry between Thomas and Elizabeth. I don't care. I don't freaking care. Like, I mean, to people who like it, I'm not saying you shouldn't like it because I would be bashing your opinion, but I'm not trying to bash anyone's opinion. I'm just trying to say how I feel about the episode. And why it's bad? It is just flat out boring and very much nothing. And why do we have to have that stupid cloudy lighting? Oh my god, don't get me with the stock footage. That applies to almost every single episode. Oh my god, and the crash sounds are just god awful. Cause cause there's a slide whistle in every single freaking crash. Even the ones that are great, like Something Fishy, for example. And James and the Queen of Sodor. Oh my god. Anyways, I'm not trying to hate on Season 7 because I really don't. I think it's just a bit underrated. Season 7... I think both Season 7 and Season 6 are both classic seasons, and I think they're both underrated. A bit. Not completely underrated, just a bit. Just slightly underrated. And I feel they should they should try... I feel that, Season 7 does have a few underrated episodes, particularly the old bridge, for people thinking Skarloey is out of character, but no, technically he's not. There you go. That's my basic that's me basically committing TP talks about season 7 24/7. That's your meme. Anyways, now, Jack in the Pack. I'll admit, this is better than Season 2, but not as good as Season 5. There are lots of great episodes, like, um, uh, 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 The Tortoise and the Hare, Another Fine Mess, aka Thomas's trusty friend. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say the hit entertainment titles because they're dumb, and the standard gauge they're just there so that the Thomas and Percy could be plastered on it. Nelson. There are great episodes like The Tortoise and the Hare, Another Fine Mess, Alphea's Kittens, Mud Glorious Mud, what else? What else? Byron Saves the Day, Oliver Saurus, I think that's it. And, I'd, I'd say the other half is just either okay or just bad. Or the other half is just mid. You know what? I'll just put this down below season 7. If you think this spin-off series is better than season 7, then that's completely fine. Oh, I forgot to mention. I think my favorite title of the entire of this entire spin-off is "Who's the Boss?" Yeah, because it feels like the quote saying, "I'm gonna show him who's boss." I swear to God, "Who's the Boss?" is such a really funny episode. Probably the funniest in the entire spin-off series. mainly because of the title, but strangely changed to On-Site with Thomas for some reason. Why? Like, Hit, why are you always changing titles so that Thomas and Percy could be plastered in? Like, they have nothing to do with the story. I mean, with Nelson gets carried away, I sorta get it, but still, you can't plaster Percy and Thomas onto the episode titles that focus on a completely different character off the tracks. Ugh, anyways, that's enough classic era for now. Let's move on to the Hit era. Now, I will admit, I don't care what anyone says, Season 8 is basically better than these two seasons. Well, actually, you know what? No, it's not as good as Season 6, honestly. Because, well, for basically one reason. Some of these episodes are formulaic. I mean, I guess that would be kind of true for Season 6 as well, but technically not, because it doesn't have any three strikes formula. But Season 8, but only a couple of episodes of Season 8, the case is actually true. Season 8 is technically where it started in terms of the three strikes formula, but there wasn't that much. A couple examples would probably be Edward the Great, I think? I'm not sure. But there are some definite examples like Emily's Adventure and As Good as Gordon, just to name a few. But still, there are lots of great episodes. There are still lots of good episodes, like Emily's New Route, Don't Tell Thomas, Spick and Span, which reuses the theme from the old bridge in the US dub, by the way, in which it sounds actually really nice. I feel it's actually fitting for an opening theme. Um, uh, there's Edward the Great, the, and there are a couple of obvious ones, and Percy's Big Mistake, and there are three obvious ones: Squeak Rattle and Roll, Thomas to the Rescue, and Halloween. And also there's James Goes Too Far, which is the last good episode of Season 8 before Chickens to School was so bad I don't want to watch it again. Same with Too Hot for Thomas. And Percy and the Magic Carpet is just fine. Speaking of those episodes, I feel we should talk about the bad episodes of the season, because because half the season is pretty much bad. Uh, um, I'd say because, well, not technically half the season, but there are a couple of there are there are almost there are there are a couple of episodes in season 8 where they're just flat out boring or just bad. Like the two Emily episodes I just stated, Thomas, Emily and the Snowplow, uh what else? Henry and the Wishing Tree, Thomas and the Tuba, and pretty much the worst one I'd say is probably Chickens to School. Well, I do admit the music's nice, but it doesn't save the episode because it's still bad, because it's such a dumb episode and it literally makes no sense. And the workmen are the cause of the story to happen. And why is the Fat Controller blaming Thomas of all the characters? It's the it's the workers you should be blaming. Fire them from their job. You need to fire those workmen. Seriously. I'm just kidding, really. Calling All Engines, I'll admit it's alright. Um, I'll admit, yeah, Calling All Engines is just alright. There are lots of nice moments, like the storm sequence is probably the best in the season. Well, not the season, the movie I'm talking about. And I also hear see people complaining that this is saying that this is an 1 hour episode. Guys, this is technically not an episode, it's a movie. It's a movie. It has the 1 hour format. Yeah, it does have a lack of an original intro. But still, this actually is a movie. And you really can't argue with that because it technically does have the 1 hour format, and it actually does feel like a movie, and it feels like a special event is going on, and that's a really that, and that's probably the best thing I can credit for Calling All Engines. But technically, the worst thing about Calling All Engines is it's kind of false advertising. Why? Because it says calling all engines, which means they're going to call every single engine from the entire show so far. Um, but nope, we got the main 8 and a couple of returning characters, and that's it. No narrow gauge engines, and none of the other secondary characters reappear. Wah. But still, this movie is just alright. Season 9. This is definitely better than Season 8, in my opinion. There's still lots of good episodes, but there are only a couple of bad ones. And only a few mid ones. Like the good episodes this season are one of them is pretty obvious, Respect for Gordon. There's Thomas and the Statue as well. We got Magic Lamp, Mighty Mac. There's Percy and the Oil Painting, which actually does the Three Strikes formula very correct. Yeah, that's how the Three Strikes formula should be done. Man, Percy and the Oil Painting got the Three Strikes formula done correct. Yeah, done correctly. Anyways, yeah, I'm just trying to name a few good episodes, but there are, all at the same time, there are a couple bad ones, like Reneus and the Dinosaur, which does have very amazing looking sets, but it still can't save the episode from being so poor, and I can't even watch it because it is so it is technically ruined by Reneus and Skarloey's flanderization. And don't get me started on Skarloey the Brave. Oh my god, I hate that episode so much. And I'm pretty sure everyone in the fandom does. Technically. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, season 9 is definitely my favorite hit season, basically. Some would say that seasons 8 and 9 are both their favorite seasons, but to me, season 9 is just a little better than season 8. Not as good as season 6, but still a really great still a great season. Anyways, season 10. I'll say this is the first below average season because, well, technically it does have a couple a couple gems, but it's mostly filled with mid and bad episodes. Like the good episodes this season are definitely James the Second Best, It's Good to Be Gordon. What else? I don't know. But still, there are lots of good episodes. Definitely. But there are still bad episodes like uh Fearless Freddy, trying to think. I don't remember season 10 that much. Thomas and Skarloey's Big Day Out. Thomas and the Treasure. Follow That Flower. A Smooth Ride. Um, uh, uh Thomas's Tricky Tree. The list is endless. Well, technically not endless, but yeah. I don't remember season 10 that much. But still, I know it being a pretty meh season. Season 11. I'll admit, this is actually better than Calling All Engines. But still, it's not a good season. The good episodes of the season. Actually, there is one bad episode I want to talk about in season 10. And that is Edward strikes. Those three. Actually, there's three. Those are Topped Off Thomas, Thomas's frosty friend, and the worst of all, and the worst of probably the entire. Oh, and the worst of probably the entire season. Edward strikes out. Oh, good lord, what did they do to Edward? And what did they do to Thomas? Like, what did they do to the world of reality? Like, the wind is apparently a character? That is not even real. Hit you dumbasses. Anyways, um, season 11 does have some good episodes, but the other half is just bad, mostly. It's just either mid. There are only a couple of mid ones and a lot of bad ones, but there are a couple of good ones too. There are good episodes too, but like the obvious one, and also my favorite one, Cool Truckings. Hector the Horrid, Gordon and the Engineer, or Mechanic in the U.S. We got uh we got Wash Behind Your Buffers. I'll admit the two Madge episodes are both pretty good. Um um but I think Cool Truckings is a little better. And Wash Behind Your Buffers is just good. Um there's also Dream On, Dirty Work, which randomly steals a title from season 2. I think that's it. I think that's only the few I can actually remember that are good. But yeah, the rest of the episodes are just mid or bad. The bad episodes I can easily name. Sir Handel in Charge because nothing happens. Scarloy storms through because Scarloy is scared of the rain and he's acting like a whiny child again. Henry's Lucky Day because, well, Henry has lucky trucks for some reason instead of another story around Henry and the wishing or pine tree again. Oh my god, these episodes just get worse and worse. Well, technically not worse and worse, but yeah. Season 11 is definitely not the best season of the hit era, but it's right in the middle of the ranking of the hit era. It's just okay. Now, the season 11 movie. Oh boy. Um, this is the not as good as season 4, but definitely better than season 7. Cause well, half of the movie is just most of the movie is great, while some of the movie is just mid or just completely unrealistic. Like, I'll just mention the flaws of the movie. Like, how in the world is Thomas has an engine supposed to cross that little bridge in the mine without breaking? Like, it's only been held up by poles. Like, that thing could easily collapse. That thing could easily collapse if an engine were to go on it, especially a tender engine. But I don't think it would collapse for a hand car. But maybe maybe I'm wrong on that. But and also Stanley is just a stupid plot device. But this does have some redeeming feature. It does have some redeeming qualities, like the all the crashes are really fantastic. My favorite pretty much has to be the my favorite has to probably be the demolition of the Great Waterton Waterworks Tower. You know, when the trucks career down the hill and straight into the tower, demolishing it. yeah, I definitely did not steal that quote from Unlucky Tug, technically. Um, but yeah, there are lots of great other great features, but still, I don't want to point them all out. Season 12, on the other hand, is just bad. Actually, no, yeah, it's technically garbage. The worst season of the model era. I'd say there are only a few good episodes, but still, most of the season is just so bad. Like, I'll just point out the bad ones first. Like, there's, uh, now that I think about it, season 12 is definitely the worst model season. Instead of, I used to have it in the middle of the hit era, but the hit era ranking, but good God, after thinking about it, it's just the worst thing of the model era. And it's such a weird transition from model series to CGI, and I hate it. Ugh. Anyways, uh, the good there are lots of bad episodes like Tram Troubles, Saved You, uh, Don't Go Back, The Man in the Hills, Thomas Puts the Brakes On, um, Best Friends, Steady Eddie, Henry Gets It Wrong. Uh, actually, no. Hold on. Let me just point out another episode before I go into that. Heave Ho Thomas. Actually, no. I think that episode is just mid. It's the Heave Ho Thomas is probably the only mid episode of season 12. The rest are just either are just good or pretty bad. But mostly this season sucks. And of course, let's keep going. There's It Gets Henry Wrong, and probably the worst episode of the model era, Push Me, Pull You. With a title like that, I fucking hate it. Actually, I'm going to be a little comedic and describe it in 3 simple words. Fuck this. Fuck that episode. Oh my goodness. It makes pretty much my friends laugh. Oh my god. You know what? I'm gonna keep doing it. Just for laughs. And it's for a completely valid reason too, because lots of season 12's episodes are just bad. But there are a couple of good ones, like Mountain Marvel, and of course James Works It Out. Um and I wanna talk about something for a minute. I rewatched my friend's ranking of the model series episodes, not the seasons. And he said, and I mean, I can understand that we've been talking about James Works It Out too much. Yeah, I can see that, and I do apologize for talking about it so much. But saying that we talk about it's the best thing ever? God, no, it's not the best thing ever. It's the best of it may be the best of season 12, but not the best thing ever. Or maybe you're just referring to another person from the friend group and not me, technically. But still, I thought it was worth addressing. And I'm not saying go after this guy. I'm like, God, no. I don't want you guys to do that. Anyways, let's get back to the ranking. Hero of the Rails. This is I'll admit this is way but this is 2 times better than season 1. Why do I say 2 times instead of 10 times? Cuz well, there are a few problems with the movie. Like Hero's arrival is so weird. It is almost like 40 to 70 years off. Like, Hit, you need to do some research. Do some fucking research, and you'll actually get it. I don't get why you're just so blatant to not look up any real life information because you want to appeal these things for freaking kids. fuck you hit? Oh my god. Anyway, sorry. So the good things about the movie, I like the chase scene, both chase scenes. Um, I like Spencer as the antagonist. Um, I love Hero. He's probably my favorite character in the CGI series. I like the theme works. I like all the new locations. I especially love Hero's hideout. What else? Um, I love the Thomas and Spencer racing scene. It very and basically it's kind of just like it's kind of Dream On, but just turned into a giant movie, and I just really love that. But the Great Race and apparently another movie doesn't do this any better. It just does this a lot worse. But I can tell you, this is a this is definitely a much better version of Dream On turned into a giant movie. Because, well, it knows to keep its focus on the plot of the engines helping Hero. That is the best thing about this movie, I can say, by far. But yeah, this movie is just good. Not great, just, it's a really good start to the CGI era, I can say. Season 13 is just bad. It's the best, it's probably the second best of the Nitrogen era, but still, it's bad. Nothing else to say. For the Nitrogen era, I'm not going to talk about any of the good or bad episodes. I'm just going to talk about my opinions. I'm just probably going to describe it. Now, time for this abomination. This is bad. But there are some redeeming features about it. Like, I like that Cranky sympathizes that Thomas is gone. And I like that he actually cares about the little engines. Kind of reminds me of Cranky Bugs. But still, that cannot save the movie. Because I hate the logging locos. But, okay. I will admit, I love Misty Island. I love the concept of Misty Island. But I hate the logging locos. Like, here's my way to fix Misty Island Rescue. Say Misty Island Rescue is an abandoned island south of Sodor, but a bit further away because, well, it sometimes gets foggy out there. And Thomas one night discovers it via ship that he's going on. I mean, I know it's a plot convenience, but we're just gonna have to keep it for this entire plot to work. But Thomas can roll onto Misty Island like he did in the movie, and he can look around. And the worst thing about this movie, I'm going to stop right there, because it happens right there. The worst thing about this movie, by far, without a doubt, is the rhyming. Good God, the rhyming. Thomas 1 over 2 Henry 3 did a counter on this, and the movie rhymed 51 times. That is way too overboard. That is overboard. Oh my god, I hate it. But not as much as the abomination we'll get to later. Oh, whoops. I'm going back and forth here. Season 14. Still bad. Same thing can be said about Season 15. I had to skip Day of the Diesels because I just want to get through these seasons. And, put Season 16 here because it at least has narrow gauge. Day of the Diesels. Sorry I had to go a little clunky there. I just wanted to get through the Nitrogen seasons before going to the movies. Before going to the Nitrogen era movies. I'm not literally going to the theater. No, not today. Day of the Diesels. This movie is just mid. I feel it's on the same line as Calling All Engines, in my opinion, because the action in this movie is brilliant. It basically the first fire gives me Thomas Percy and Old Slow Coach vibes. In fact, it's a subtle reference to that, and that's probably the best thing about this movie. The best scene in this movie, by far, is the other fire scene at the end. It has way more intense music, and oh my god, it just looks so real. It just it just feels like you're in a season. You're in the season. It just feels like we're back to the season 5 environments. Seriously, I love it. But the movie is just fine overall. Blue Mountain Mystery, the best thing ever. Come and sing along. I'm sorry, I had to sing that. That was just too catchy. That was just so catchy. The song itself is catchy. Everything about this movie is great. It's better than season 3. It's the best thing in the entire franchise. I I I'm not. I'm just saying this. This is the best thing in the entire franchise. I love it. I love it. I love it. Like, I love the Blue Mountain Quarry. I love this. I love Victor's backstory. I like that Luke's backstory connects with Victor's. Oh my god. Introducing 2 new characters from the same era, but not in the same movie, and giving them the same exact backstory at the exact same time. Oh my god, that's clever. That is absolute that is an absolute masterpiece of an idea. Wow. I might try to do something like that. Oh my god. King of the Railway, not as good, but still honestly a good movie. Actually, I'll just put it in okay. It's better than season 11 at least. It's better than season 11 at least. Um I don't have much to say other than the new characters are really nice, and overall it's just a fine movie. Season 17. Oops. Oh. My screen is acting laggy. Why? Anyways, season 17, not as good as season 6, but still is a good season. It's still a great season overall. Uh, the good episodes of the season are Gordon Runs Dry, Wayward Winston, um, um, and I think I can pinpoint my favorite episode of the season, or probably my favorites of the season: Henry's Hero, Percy's Lucky Day, and No More Mr. Nice Engine. The 3 of them are both really good episodes. None of these episodes reach the great episode. None of these episodes are great, but still, they range from bad to really good. But still, most of the season is just good. There are only a couple that are mid. Like, there are a couple that are just bad. Like, Steamy Stafford, Calm Down Caitlin, Scruff's Makeover, and Kevin's Cranky Friend, which I don't really care about those stories. I think the worst of the season is probably Calm Down Caitlin, because it's so annoying. But anyways, Tale of the Brave. AKA, this is our song, our Tale of the Brave. This is better than season 5 and Tugs combined. Seriously, I love this movie. This is my second favorite movie of all time in the Thomas franchise. It's not as good as season 3, but still is a really, really beautiful movie that I would always be coming back to rewatch. The music, oh my god, the music is nail biting, especially the intro. Good god, I love the intro. I love it. And I don't care what anyone says, season 18 is the best Brenner season out there. Actually, no, I'm not gonna put it in the best. It's better than Great Discovery, but it's not as good as season 4. Because, well, it does have a couple mid episodes, but it's mostly great episodes. It's mostly fantastic episodes, like Marion and the Pipe, the 2 Duncan episodes. What else? Um, uh, Spencer's VIP, um, Not So Slow Coaches, um, Missing Gator, Long Lost Friend, Toad's Bright Idea, etc. Lots of these episodes are just fantastic bangers. But there are only four episodes that are just there are only 4 or 5 there are only like 5 or 6 episodes that are just mid for me. And those episodes are the 4 Samson episodes, the 4 episodes that Samson appears in. Like Marion and the Dinosaurs, Samson Sent for Scrap, Millie and the Volcano, and Samson at Your Service. There's also uh uh yeah, I don't know. But still, I think my favorite episode of the season has to be Toad's Adventure. Just because of how in just because of the nice build up and the intense scene of Toad rolling down the hill trying to stop the trucks. And instead of having like 7 of them, there's only like 2 less. It's only 2 left. It's only subtract 2. It's take away 2, and he literally stops the train just in time. And not to mention, this episode literally references escape and busy going backwards. Like, it references escape because Oliver tells Toad all about it. I think the Roy series version, but somehow it doesn't mention Douglas in it. I mean, he could have mentioned that off screen, but yeah, still. And it gives me busy going backwards vibe, and the scene where Toad tries to stop the trucks on the hill is very busy going backwards to me, really. And I just have so much to say about season 18. The adventure begins. Oh my god, my screen is laggy. Why? Again, why? The adventure begins is such a banger. I think I put it as my second favorite. I'll take back what I said about Tale of the Brave. It's probably my third favorite, I think. And The Adventure Begins is the second best movie of the show. That's all I could say. I don't have much to say about The Adventure Begins. Season 19. It's meh. My favorite episode of the season I could say is Reds versus Blues, because that's the only episode I rewatched. And the 2 Philip episodes are also good, but there are some bad episodes like Henry Spots Trouble for obvious reasons. Oops. Whoops. I did not mean to do that. Let me fix that. There we go. Sodar's Legend of the Lost Treasure. This is a great movie. Not as good as Season 5, but still, it's a really fantastic movie. Nothing else I can say. Sailor John is a great villain. Yeah, Sailor John is a great villain. The music is very catchy, and overall, the movie's a banger. That's all I can say. Season 20 is overrated. Oh my god, my thing is broken for some reason. But season 20 is overrated, but it's just meh. Great Race, it's also meh. It's also meh. It doesn't do the Dream On type of movie any better than Hero of the Rails, technically. Now, JBS, it's just good. Not as good as Tatmer, but this movie is not as good as Tatmer, but still, it has a really great amount of songs. Like, the most important thing, my favorite song is basically the most important thing is being friends. Overall, this is a really nice movie. and a nice way to end the Thomas franchise. Like, this was the last truly good movie of the Thomas franchise before Bwaba had to come in. And season 21 is also just meh. Because, well, yeah, there's not much I remember from it. Bwaba is bad. Same with and the next 3 seasons are just bad. I think I'll say season 22 is the best of the Brenner seasons. Well, not the Brenner seasons, the Bwaba seasons, I meant. And of course, this abomination. And of course, this abomination is actually, you know what? I'll be a bit generous and put season 22 in bad. It's actually above season 16 because it has more. It has a couple of good episodes, at least. Thomas and the Royal Engine. And I'll admit, this is the only thing that is actually good in Bwaba. This is the only good thing to come. This is the only good special to come out of Bwaba. And I like this. I like all the references. Particularly the little engines can do big things from Tatmer. I just love all the references. Basically, there are a lot of references to. There are a couple of references to the. There are references to There is a reference to the Railway Series book, Gordon Goes Foreign. I like that Henry actually speaks in this episode. And what's interesting is Michael White actually wrote this episode. Because somehow Mattel knows how much of a good writer Michael White is, despite how much of a bad company Mattel is. And I'll admit, Michael White, you are such a good writer. You're not the best writer of all time, but you're honestly a good writer, and I'm happily grateful that you actually care about Thomas. And so do other people at Mattel as well. Like Neil Crone, surprisingly, wow, I didn't expect him to come back after like 20 years. After like 20 years after he just voiced Gordon and Thomas in the Magic Railroad, and Diesel 10 as well to an extent. But still, Thomas and the Royal Engine is a really nice end to the entire. Is a really nice end to the show, showing the British flag for British representation. I love that. And it was such a great end to Thomas's never-ending timelessness. And that is my ranking of all the Thomas specials, seasons, and spin-offs. And I'll admit my opinions might change in the future, but still, I will admit all Thomas is one of my even if half the franchise is even if over half the franchise is good, Thomas and Friends is the best franchise in the entire freaking world. I'm not joking. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, folks. This is TP officially signing off.